Hello there. My name is Olatun Shobodu, Emmet Leadership Academy. You're welcome once again. It's a privilege to come to you on the subject of leadership. Once again, I have been speaking in the last couple of episodes on the subject of tough leadership. Tough leadership. Basically saying that leadership is a tough responsibility and trying to explore both from the perspective of the leader and the perspective of the follower, that either way, leadership is tough. It is tough to lead, tough on the leader to provide the leadership that is meaningful, and it is tough to follow as well. Tough on the follower to meet up with the demands of the leader and the walk or the journey with the leader. But therein lies the leader-follower relationship. In order for it to be profitable, then both parties need to handle the tough dimensions of their interactions well, effectively. So the last time I was speaking about the foremost truth, that was the focus of the last edition. And in that edition, I basically went ahead to x-ray what is that foundation or fundamental truth that should govern the relationship between the leader and the follower. And the truth, interestingly, was for the leader to make it clear that he's the one or she's the one in charge. And that has to be understood, that has to be embraced by the follower. It's fundamental, but you may want to look at that to get the real gist of what we had to say on that. But today I want to take the discussion a bit further, and I want to speak to the subject of the hurdle of trust. The hurdle of trust, the relationship between the leader and the follower. Like every relationship, has to be built on trust. Has to be built on trust. What is often the case is that the follower doesn't want to trust without seeing a reason to do so, without seeing the leader, achieve some kind of result or demonstrate some kind of capability or performance. It's like putting the leader in a position where he or she has to prove himself before the trust can be earned, in quotes. And that tends to be, what the that is almost like the normal thing, right now. And unfortunately, I think that puts the whole concept of leadership on its head, because that's not the way things are supposed to run. The hurdle of trust is a hurdle that the follower has to cross. It's tough. It's tough in the sense that you actually need to be willing to trust your leader, whether or not he has accomplished anything. Whether or not he has accomplished anything. Let me bring us back to what has been our instant case, the case that we've been using as the anchor, to illustrate all the dimensions of what we consider to be tough leadership. And we've been discussing the example of Jesus, who, was leading a group of 12, and that group expanded, And at a point, he, said some things in the course of his interaction with them, and they told him that, what he was saying was too hard. That, I mean, who can bear what he had to say? That it was tough on anybody, to bear what he said. And he didn't yield. Instead, he was asking, for those, said, does this offend you? He suggested that, well, if you can't take what I have to say, then you may just as well leave. I mean, it's not by force for you to follow me. But if you must follow me, you must obey, but you must, be willing to obey these rules. And indeed, you must be willing to trust me. You must be willing to trust me, even if you don't understand, why I am making this demand at this point. That's what we have been looking at. And so the issue of trust is the issue of believing in the leader, believing that the leader, means well, has great intentions, has the capability to deliver on his intentions, or at least to give it, the try, to put in all that he can in order to try and accomplish, good intentions for the follower as well as for himself. Now, since we're using that as our instant case, I want to, make, and that is found in John 6, between 42 or thereabout up to 60, 64. That's where all, that interaction took place. Now, especially in verse, 47, he said, most assuredly, I say to you, whoever believes in me has everlasting life. That was the deal. And then he went on to say, look, I am the bread of life. Whoever believes in me is a precondition. You have to believe in me first before you can access the benefit that I have to offer. So you have to trust me first before you can enjoy the benefits that's on offer, from my leadership. It's not the other way around. It's a hurdle that you must confront. You have to make the choice as a follower to believe in the leader, if you want to benefit from what he or she carries. Let me ground this principle properly. And we can talk about, Hebrews 11 and verse 6. There also, there is a relationship that we have the opportunity of seeing, of observing, and we see the same principle play out. And there we're told that you can't please God, and that, change God, you can put a leader there without having faith or expressing faith in the leader. And if you want to please the leader, we understand that you must fulfill two conditions. You must believe that he is, and you must believe that he rewards those who seek him diligently. Two key conditions. And that those conditions are equated to trust, or to faith, if you like. So you must, what he's saying is that you can't please your leader without acknowledging him as the leader, according him the respect that the leader deserves, and understanding that he has your best interest at heart, that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. You see, it's not the other way around. It's not waiting until the leader does anything as yet before choosing to trust. It is giving the benefit of the doubt, believing that the leader is credible, what his or her salt, and giving the leader an opportunity, to justify the confidence that you are expected to repose in him. One of the things that is crucial that one needs to underline is the word please. That it's when you trust the leader, you please the leader. I mean, anybody in a leadership position wants to be trusted, whether you have delivered anything or done anything. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to be put on the line, that until you deliver, then that's only when you'd get the trust. You would like to be given the opportunity, okay, to do what you need to do, okay, because, and it's important, because you need the support of the follower anyway. Like I always say, if you could do it alone, then you don't need any follower. You just go ahead and do it. The reason you have followers, the reason you have to preside over a team is because whatever the team is there to achieve, it can be done by one person. So you need the help of everybody. If you need the help of everybody and you are at the head of the team, you need everybody to commit themselves. Okay. I mean, if you have to wait, if you need the help of everybody, why should you wait until you prove anything? Because in order to prove anything, you still need the help. So the followers are obliged to make their help available without conditions, trusting, showing confidence in the leader, his ability to deliver. That's the way it works. If you don't please the leader, you can't benefit. Notice, he said, he is a rewarder. You must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Meaning, he's a rewarder of those who choose to trust in him. Okay, so it's chicken and egg, because on the one hand, the follower would like to see the leader do something before they trust. On the other hand, you can't take delivery, you can't access the benefits of the leader. You can't access the benefits that the influence of the leader on your life is meant to deliver without trusting. Without you supporting the leader as a proper, credible team member in the quest to achieve, the objectives of the team, you can't benefit from what the leader has to offer. That's the hurdle of trust. That's the hurdle that every follower needs to overcome. And it's important to please the leader. Until your leader is pleased, it's doubtful that you can benefit from whatever value that the leader has to bring into your life as a follower. That trust, you must cross that hurdle. You must be willing to invest that trust. You must be willing to take that risk. To trust, you must be willing to lock in faith in the leader. And it reminds me as well of the instruction that a similar leader by way of a king gave and that's Jehoshaphat when he said, in the face of a battle, and he was leading, the whole country, as it were, into battle. And he says, believe the Lord your God, so shall you be established. Believe also his prophet, so shall you prosper. He was saying that as they were stepping out, going to the battlefield. He said, not just believe God, believe also his prophet, so shall you prosper. Meaning that there is a place for trusting in the leadership. It has to happen. They had to do that before the war. They had to do that before they could see victory. If they did not believe the word of that prophet, if they didn't believe in the prophet as a prophet, in which case the leader, they didn't acknowledge that whatever the prophet said they had to subject themselves to, they had to commit themselves to, they had to walk with him within the context of those instructions, thereby trusting him. There was no way they were going to experience victory. No way that they were going to experience victory. No way. So it's always the follower who needs to trust first, as difficult as it is, as seemingly justified as it is. It's not the way to go. When you refuse to trust, you hinder the ability of the leader to deliver. Why? Because the leader needs your cooperation. It needs that trust as an ingredient, as part of what will empower him to perform. It reminds me again just now of a situation where, Jesus himself, we understand that, he was somewhere and he preached, and it was so frustrating for him because he said he could there not do any mighty work. He couldn't make any significant impact on the people. He couldn't give the people couldn't enjoy what he was capable of delivering. He could there, in that place, he couldn't do great things, mighty things that he has always been known for. Said because of their unbelief, because they refused to believe him. They didn't believe him. He could just do one or two things. They couldn't believe him. So if you were looking at him, are you really who they say you are? Are you really a leader in that circumstance? You would go away with the wrong impression that, sorry, this man is not a leader. This man, he couldn't even do, some things. He couldn't solve our problems. Okay. And that is it. That's not the issue. They didn't know that they were the ones who hindered him from being able to solve their problems. Why? Because they didn't believe what he said. They didn't believe what he said. He was capable of doing much more, as many leaders are capable of doing. In many circumstances, in many situations, in the lives of many of those who are following them today. But those followers do not know that they have not enjoyed more than they have seen because they have refused to trust the leader. When you want to undermine a leader or restrict the ability of the leader to impact your life, withhold your trust. When you do that, you frustrate the works of the leader. But guess what? You would be the one to lose. The leader doesn't lose because he was simply going to share some of his virtues with you, to deposit some of the things that already exist in him, into you for your own benefit. And in order for you to facilitate that transfer, you need to invest trust. You need to invest your faith. You need to believe first before you see anything. Before you see anything. So you can understand, how tricky, this is. But in virtually all situations, it's like that. I mean, you can make the choice if you trust and the leader doesn't come through. You don't see anything. The leader never makes any impact. Fine. I mean, you can always change your view about the leader. But it is every leader, until they prove otherwise, deserves the trust of the follower. Every follower must understand that they hold the key to unlock whatever benefits any leader offers. And that key is their trust. When they trust, they please the leader. They encourage and energize the leader to do what he needs to do in order for their relationship to be worthwhile, to be memorable. When they choose to withhold the key of trust, they frustrate the leader. They make it look like the leader is not competent, but they frustrate themselves much more. They deprive themselves because it takes the trust for the leader to deliver in virtually every situation. I once quoted in the series from Hebrews 4 and verse 2, said that the word that was preached to us is the same word that was preached to some other group. But that word did not produce results, profit in them, because they didn't believe it. They weren't willing to trust the one who said it. If it was a leader, they didn't. They chose not to believe the leader. When you don't believe a leader, you can't access what the leader has to offer. When you don't believe a leader, you don't even excite the leader to want to share what he or she has with you. If you want to please the leader, you invest trust. You believe that that is a true leader, has an assignment, embrace the assignment, and believe that there is something in it for you. Is the hurdle. I call it the hurdle of trust. The hurdle of trust. It's chicken and egg, but the follower, in this case, has to do the needful. It is not to say that the leader should not trust the follower. There is a place for that. There is a place for that. Both parties should enter into the relationship with mutual trust. Good leaders know that they must hold that all their followers. They must trust all their followers. They must have faith in the follower to perform. Good leaders don't come to the table as well, expecting, the followers to prove themselves. They come to the table believing that every follower has what it takes and giving them the opportunity, for them to come through, to fulfill their expectations. All right, so that's the way it is. But I think that for this purpose, it's something that is more relevant. It's a point that needs to be made, that followers need to take into consideration. because I think they have a lot more at stake than the leader. They are the ones who need to collect from the leader. They are the ones who typically have a longer future to contend with than the leader. And if they come into that kind of relationship, they need to be willing to invest um, trust in the leader. Doing so, the leader is empowered. Doing so, the leader is pleased. And doing so, the leader can then, have no excuse other than to deliver on their mandate. So that's it. The hurdle of trust as one of the tough dimensions of the toughness that the leadership responsibility entails. I'll see you again tomorrow when I'll be speaking further on, I would be actually be looking at the price that following, the real price of following, That's what I'll be looking at tomorrow. Be on the lookout for the video or join at the broadcast, and let's share your ideas. Once again, go ahead and express yourself in the comment. Share your ideas with others. Share what you think about this situation. You may also want to ask certain questions. I guarantee that you would get a response. So go ahead and express yourself, and you can share the video as well with others. See you again. God bless you. Bye-bye.